Welcome, everybody, to our online event, The State of the Animation Industry. Thank you so much for being here. And the way we're going to start is that we are going to introduce ourselves, Sam, Jose, and Adriel. So let's start with Adriel. Adriel, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Hey, everyone. My name is Adriel. I am from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, as I've mentioned. I am a biz dev artist in animation. I've worked at places like Nickelodeon and Disney. Nickelodeon, I was on Bubble Guppies season 6. I was also on, Monster High season 1, the newest reboot that they did. And then most recently at Disney, I was working as an intern on Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, doing some character designs there. So big fan of animation world. And my most recent project is at Monkey Paw, doing some character design there. So I'm super happy to be here. Thank you guys so much for signing up, for joining, for all the repeat people that we see. It's great to see you again, all the new ones. Really happy to have your new faces here. And I'll pass the baton on to Jose.
Awesome. Thank you, Adriel. Hi, guys. My name is Jose Vega. I'm originally from Puerto Rico, but I currently live in Texas. I've been working in the industry for over 12 years. Currently, one of the senior concept artists for Wizards of the Coast Magic the Gathering for the world building team. So I get to design all the environments for all the lands and new places for all the new core sets that come out. Previously to that, I was the background lead designer for the Castlevania Netflix series. So I was in charge of the background team, doing all the backgrounds, dealing with the outsourcing companies for all the backgrounds and all that. But I've also been freelancing for all the time, working for numerous companies and IPs, but mainly concentrated on the environment side of things. So happy to be here.
Well, thank you so much, both of you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sam Pagan. I'm a former CG artist from Nickelodeon. My experience has been around 5 years, 3 years working in a studio called Gladius for 3 years, 2 years at Nickelodeon, and I specialize on lighting and compositing. For the past year and a half, I've been dedicating myself to teaching. I'm originally from Puerto Rico, and yes, that's a little bit about me. So to get started, I want you guys to comment in the chat. What have you guys heard about what's going on in the animation industry? Why is it down? Why is the entertainment industry having so much layoffs? Like, what have you heard? And the reason I ask this is because Adriel and Jose are going to read the comments, and they're going to take 1 to 2 comments and address what misconceptions there might be, what things are true, so that we can clarify what's going on.
Sounds good. So yeah, it looks like the chat is blowing up. But one of the first things I saw was producers and green lighting stuff. It does seem like green lighting has been one of the things that's affecting the industry, especially during COVID. You had kind of the gold rush of animation. Everyone's like, the film industry can go down, but we can make animation from anywhere. So everyone was very excited to make animation, in my experience. And then what we started to experience is almost like a saturation of it. We were creating things. A lot of things did pop off. Like you did have series that were pretty popular in during the COVID days, but it seems like right now with the saturation, us as viewers are really starting to tell that, it's like quantity over quality. And we don't have those shows that we could have grown up with where we're like, oh my God, I absolutely love SpongeBob. It's a staple. I actually love these kind of shows that are constantly kind of pushing culture. And I think because of that, they kind of overshot. And they're starting to try to recompensate. And what we're experiencing right now is a lot of the recompensation of things like finances, things like, okay, they want to make sure that they're betting on winners. So it's a lot harder for people to pitch shows, versus us being like, hey, let's make a Sam, Adriel, and Jose show where we go on magical adventures. They're much rather going to be like, let's make a Gravity Falls 7 or a Gravity Falls 2, just because we know that formula works. So I think it's risk aversion a little bit, and it's also recompensation as they try to readjust. And that's probably my take on it, I would say, just to address what we're talking about with green lighting.
Yeah, I think also this is also part of the peaks and valleys of the industry, similar to real estate. This happens all the time. There's a cycle to it. Of course, we have had the COVID situation. We should have shake the industry a little bit. But it's also, it might look especially because I see a lot of your faces and a lot of you are like super young. And so this might be the first time that you experience the valleys part of the industry, which might seem a little bit more scary, but this is also a cycle, right? And I think it also looks worse now because there's even more artists and being able to do art is more accessible now. So there's a lot more artists than what it used to be when I first started, a decade or 15 years ago. So, but again, I think this is just part of the cycle of the industry.
True. And then just to piggyback off of that, in the words of Drake, we started from the bottom, now we're here. So the only way is up, basically. The only way is going up. This is one of those valleys. And I do think that it might seem like there are not a lot of opportunities, and we'll have an opportunity to talk about this later on. But it's all about now at this low point, how you can get creative with not looking for opportunities, but creating opportunities. And that's one of the points that we're going to be discussing in this talk today. So yeah, let me see.
Yeah, and I see here AI stealing jobs. Like I think that's probably like a very, very low percentage of this. I don't think is the bigger case. A lot of these layoffs have happened because of just business decisions. Because of decisions that were made 2-3 years ago because of COVID and all this. And so inflation and people are spending less money on things and all that. There's a lot of factors here that we cannot just put or we cannot think or have the mentality of saying, oh, AI is taking everything, so that's why the industry is in shambles. I really don't think that's the case.
I agree. And it's those two things are happening almost in tandem, and there is some overlap, but like AI right now is just seeing a gigantic boom where everyone's just getting excited about it. And then I think someone showed me a graph where if I'm going to do this properly, right now there's just a massive boom. Everyone's like, oh my God, AI, let's see what we can do with it. Let's see where we can apply it. And there's also like the fact that it's polarizing. People are getting excited. People are also getting like turned off by it. And then pretty soon we're going to have a massive crash where people get slightly bored about it. And then we're going to experience when people start finding a way for it, like a plateau phase where people start experiencing a way that they can integrate in their day-to-day life. So I would agree with Jose. I think it's a small percentage that's taking over the animation jobs, but it's more just like we have the big AI hype that's happening at the same time that we have the world of cinema and the world of film that's also being affected by its own things. So yeah.
Right.
What else? Sam?
Yes, I wanted to piggyback on that. So just because AI might work for some industries and some markets, that doesn't mean that it applies for animation specifically. Every industry has specific skills, has specific softwares, has specific standards. Like if somebody can do something for social media using AI, that's not the same standard as what the animation industry does, or the BFX industry, or the film. That's not what makes it might not bring value to our production. So at this state, there's very low evidence that our positions are being replaced by AI.
I see something about streaming services as well, just to piggyback off of that. One of the things that they're experiencing as well with the industry, and this overlaps with animation and film as well, is they're just noticing that people are not watching films the way that they're used to. Like they try to overcorrect the industry and like, oh, a ton of people are staying at home. Let's try to make all these streaming platforms. And then what they found was that now people are on the streaming platforms, but not a lot of people are watching the same content in the same way. Like they did a survey, and a lot of people are even watching. I see some people that are watching movies like on TikTok. Like TikTok will just have one entire movie broken up in like 8 segments, and that's how people are watching movies. So when you're out here like trying to make money on like a blockbuster movie, and someone's just like, no, I could watch The Notebook on TikTok 749 like channel page, whatever, you're not necessarily going to be as pushed to go into the theater. So they're trying to find ways to overall navigate the twists and turns, make content that gets people going back. And I think that, like I said, making the content that's pushing the culture has been the main focus that it seems like. It looks like they're shifting back into that. And as Jose mentioned, it is a low, but it seems like things are on upward climb for sure. So it looks like, yeah, we're getting a lot more people in. Sam, yeah, did you have any more, any pivots you want to navigate?
Yes. So that's where hope comes in. So if there, like Jose mentioned, there's peaks and valleys. If this, and mixing it with Adriel, now we're in the bottom, that means anything that happens now is upwards. So we should be preparing for when it comes up. And that's what this meeting is about. It's about, if this is the bottom, we have to get ready with our portfolios. We have to get ready with the right strategies. We're gonna be talking about what to do in the meantime, what have we done, and inspire you to give your best to your career. Welcome everyone to who just came in. We had a problem with the limit of people that can come in, but now that is fixed with a swipe of a credit card. So welcome.
Welcome, everyone. Do we have an idea on when it's going to change? I think, honestly, like, it seems like I don't think anyone could properly answer that. Like, yeah, it's going to be fine next month. It's going to be fine in a couple of years, like, etc. I think the best thing we can do now is look at it for what it is and try to see how we can navigate what's immediately in front of us. But you do have some good signs. You know, you can prepare for the worst and expect the best, kind of a thing. But you do have some good signs that it is on an upward trend, like the stuff that we were talking about at Comic-Con, how Marvel is announcing like getting better writers or getting the older writers back on their new projects, and like Disney starting to greenlight certain movies. Bob Iger announcing that they're going to be cutting back on certain types of content and focusing on quality over quantity. So things like that. I think all the pieces and the gears are slowly, like, we're all aware of what's going on. Hence the reason why we're having so many meetings like this. We're all aware. And I think that the big people at the top are starting to progressively start turning that wheel to get things moving on the right track. But as far as a specific answer of like, when is it going to happen? I couldn't tell you. It's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow, all of us are going to Disney. Let's do it. I can tell you. But yeah, I think this conversation that we have, the goals that we have for it, as you could have seen already, we want to help you guys prepare. We want to get a better take on the temperature of like where you guys are. We know some people are just reaching into the industry. We know some people are in the industry and at a loss of jobs. We know some people maybe don't even know anything about animation. They're just kind of like curious about what's going on. So it's going to be informational. We're going to be sharing a little bit more of our story. So hopefully you guys have something to relate to, and hopefully we can set you up with some things that you can do and some just shifting some ways of thinking while we are on this low. Hoping everyone can navigate it together. There we go. Dang, I just like let in a ton of people. It's like, oof, multitasking. All right. So yeah, Sam.
All right then. So now that we have, so let's review. In 2020, there was a boom for the streaming services. Let's maximize on how much content can we produce. So we have to hire a lot of people. Once they found out that streaming service is not the best way for them to make profit, it goes a lot of expenses, they want to go back. So that means they have to reduce how many people they hire. Now, there's still a lot of uncertainty because of the strikes. The strikes makes fear. And I have this little quote from an article I read, and I'm going to put it here in the chat. Industry insiders and experts have calculated earlier this year that studios were playing it safe by not moving forward with as many projects in anticipation of a third strike. So whoever are investing in projects in the entertainment industry, they fear that if they put some budget, if they make deals, another strike might happen, and then they have losses. So for this to recover, we need confidence in the market. Confidence can bring, and this is another quote that I found, is that in January, they posted this where they were expecting for Inside Out to have to give confidence if theaters are still working. Like we were just in a pandemic, the way audiences consume has changed. Now people are more in mobiles. Are people still going to the theater? And they were expecting that Inside Out could. Sure. Sorry, I got interrupted here. I lost train of thought. They were expecting
Recording
that
in progress.
if this goes well, we can have confidence that the theater business model still works. Another thing that can bring hope and confidence to the market is this link right here about the current Deadpool movie. Making the right marketing. You guys have seen how much marketing they have put into this film. The results can bring investors to have more confidence on making this work. So this could be the beginning of something. As we said, we cannot guess what's going to happen in the market, but these are good signs so far. All right, so now that we have shared all of that, let's head into the questions to help you guys specifically. So, give me a second. Okay, so Adriel and Jose, this is your question. So, if an industry professional here in our audience has lost their job due to layoffs, what's the first thing they should do to stay afloat? Should they live from their expenses? From their savings? Or what is it? Like, what would you recommend if they just got laid off? Jose.
So the short answer, it would be to execute the plan. And what I mean by that is that you should have had a plan for when this would happen, because for the most part, because of how the industry is and how volatile it is, and just because of the nature of it, you should always pretend or even expect for this to happen at some point in your career. And so you should have had, I'll tell you if you don't, but you should have had a savings, emergency fund. You should have some of your plan financials plan in order for when this happens. You can just execute that plan. And I was talking to somebody earlier this week that's sort of in a similar position, and I tell my students all the time that when things are good, when you have a job and you have clients, whether you're freelancing or full time, one, you don't depend on your actual work to build your portfolio or to bring your value up as an artist. You do that outside of work. You never depend on your work. And then the other thing is you never stop increasing your value as an artist when things are good, because when things get bad, it's almost too late to start, and you're gonna have some price to pay because you waited that long, right? And so if you don't have the plan, then you just need to figure out what your finances is. I love talking about finances stuff. You got to do your budget. You got to deal with, how much expenses are you dealing with, and depending on your responsibilities, whether you have a family or you're single or you live in an apartment or whatever. But the ideal it would be to start executing that plan for sure. And I wanted to touch a little bit on the AI stuff, but also all the news that are happening. Is that I never, or at least personally, I always try not to let any of the outside stuff that I cannot control make any influence on how I react and move through the industry. Yes, I am aware of what's happening, but I am not thinking every day of like what's happening with AI or like how is it gonna affect me, because that's just bringing more of the things that I cannot control into how I am. Of influencing the things that I can actually control, which is building my value up as an artist, making better art, increasing my quality of the work that I do, reaching out to clients, networking, all the things that I can actually control. And so yes, I am aware of what's happening, but I try not to even spend too much energy on it, because it is a lot. And so the reason I say this is I know a lot of artists that every day they're posting stuff about AI and, spending all this time and energy trying to deal with it, quote unquote, when they could use that energy for something that they can actually control, which is making better artwork, increasing their portfolio quality, meeting new potential clients, et cetera, et cetera. So.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I think, obviously, no one enjoys losing their job. I think that it's an opportunity as well. But first thing I would say is, for sure, what Jose said, and also piggybacking on just life as an artist in general. We're not picking a career that's like we're going to be lawyers or we're going to be doctors and we have like the luxury of like a security. So I think it's always good to have some sense of business, or always good to have some sense of finance, because we are going to be going through these periods of like ups and downs. The industry is so dynamic, and the pro and the con is that it's fueled by passion. So like everyone that's in this industry and everyone that's in this call is so passionate about what they're doing. They're so into what they're doing. We want to share that love. We want to tell our stories and things of that nature. But we also need to make sure that we're prepared on the financial financial side is like we want to have the practical side and the emotional side of things both accounted for. So I would 100% agree. And just as slight financial advice, you do want to make sure that you always have 3 months at least in advance of expenses kind of prepped. But I understand that people are also at different stages of their life. So if you're like a student, obviously you're not making bank like you're an adult in the industry or the field. So just get ready to, I think we have one person unmuted, but just get ready to like fall back on the network, fall back. That's one of the other advices I was going to say. Lean on your network and lean on the family members that you have, lean on people that are close to you, and use that time that you're down, use it as a time to rebuild. So exactly what Jose was mentioning, you know, when you're working, you don't necessarily have all that time to do things like boost your resume, redo your resume, to redo your website. You know, you're working on a daily basis. You're creating all this art. For example, when I was over at Disney and I was on Moon Girl, it was super fulfilling that every single day I would come into work and I would do the designs and stuff. But my iPad or my computer was just littered with all of my drawings and I didn't have a way to curate it. So at the moment where you're losing a job, that's when you really have all that time, leverage that time, because that's time that you're not going to get back. Polish up your portfolio, look online and see how people are curating their websites, look online and see, okay, what are some people doing? I'm going to touch on it a little bit later with some other questions, but understanding that it is like playing back into the aspect that you have time as well. See what other professionals are doing with their time that are not in a job. So you have people that are not at Disney, not at Nickelodeon, not at Pixar, not at big studios, but they're able to make a living like doing content creation. They're able to make a living by finding other ways around the industry, client work. I mentioned leverage your network, because when you are in the industry, you're obviously going to be meeting a lot of people. And this is specifically speaking to those people that lost their job. You know, you're going to network events constantly. You're going to all these things where you're meeting a lot of people. And in that concept of reaping and sowing, you're sowing a lot of seeds. So in these positions, when you do lose your job, see what seeds are like bearing fruit. See what people, oh, like you're in this position as well. What can we work out together? Oh, you're in this position as well, but you're meeting someone who's a friend who's working on another project. Maybe, you know, like be very vocal about where you want to go and start leveraging the network that you built when you were in that position of having a job. And then, like I said, we're talking specifically about people that lost their job. For people that are more in a student phase, I think the first part of what I said is still applies. Definitely use that time to build your portfolio. Like, let's say you didn't lose a job, but you just graduated and you're like, all right, oh my God, Bob Iger is not hitting my line. What's going on, guys? Use that time to like study what people are doing. Use that time to study what professionals you want to aspire. I talk a lot about the concept of fake it till you make it. You know, I think it's 100% true. Find something that inspires you, emulate it until find a way to emulate it while adding your own identity to it. And then literally you're going to create your own reality with the words that you're speaking. So find a way, depending on, we have people from a lot of different places. So look at things like Meetup, look at things online where it's like, oh, there's an animation event going on in my neighborhood. Oh, there's a sketch and hang at like a local pub. Like, let me just show up, and you never know who you're going to meet. Sam and I met in the most random way. We both were just like at Lightbox, and like, look at us, like years later, we're doing calls like this. So just be proactive. We're all in this. Like I said, we're all passionate people. We're all at this cool kids table that is animation, and all of us are kind of like going through the same kind of a thing. So you never know who you're going to connect with. You never know who. And that, sorry, I'm two different thoughts are coming at once. But another thing as well is people are very passionate about what they're doing, and everyone likes to show like, oh, this is my art. This is what I'm passionate about. This is super great. But not a lot of people like to talk about the fact that they are going through certain things. Like some people did lose their job. Some people did lose that. So you'll never know who you're going to connect with and who actually is going through the same thing as you. And that could be a point that you guys can use to launch off and build. So I said a lot of things. Hopefully some of them stuck. And I'll let Sam go to the next question.
Perfect. Just to add one more thing, the biggest skill that an artist has to develop is being resourceful. If you want to be part of this industry, you have to be resourceful. There's no safety net. It's you. It's like an entrepreneur. They have to figure out how to make it work. So that skill, develop it, expect it to happen, to be resourceful. Okay, so Adriel and Jose, imagine that you are a college graduate right now, 2024. There's an industry crisis going on. You didn't have the Disney or the powerhouse titles under your belt. What would be the first thing you would do to get your career going? Jose.
So if I knew what I know now, right, just the knowledge part of it, not the experience part of it, I will first do a self-assessment of where my skill is. And I would do that by comparing myself to the company or industry that I want to work with, right? So if I want to work for Blizzard Entertainment, I will look at their mid-tier artists and I will look at their work and I'll put it right next to mine and I will compare it critically, right? And being very honest with that. And then I will try to see, or I have other people, do that as well, so they can tell me. And I will first see what I'm lacking in terms of skill level. If I know social media is a big thing now, this thing, but if I feel like I wouldn't have a certain amount of level of skill, I will really just go quiet by myself, and I will spend a year or two just working on my skill, which is literally what I did when I first started. It's just there wasn't as much as social media. But I will probably go the same way, where I just go quiet and I will spend every single time that I have available to develop that skill. And once I reach a certain amount of skill level that is almost hireable for mid-tier companies or low-tier companies, then I'll start doing the whole social media thing and start posting and stuff, because that takes time, right? That's like another job that you have to do. It shouldn't be your main job, but you use that as a vehicle for you to get exposure and attention. But I will definitely for sure start working on my skills first.
Absolutely. I think skills and presentation are two of the main things that you can control when you have that time. So a lot of people I know that just graduated. A lot of people I know that just graduated. One of the things that they're doing is, like I mentioned, like also with losing a job, you're taking all the work that you have, all the work and portfolio stuff that you did in school, and you're curating it properly. So look, as Jose said, compare yourself to the industry standard, compare yourself to the idols that you have in the industry, and see things like, how are they curating their website? What kind of work you're doing? Because maybe you did graduate and you have all these drawings and stuff, and you're like, okay, I took drawing one, I took design one, I drew like a figure drawing with a ton of people. Let me put that in my portfolio. But then when you look at, like, let's say the lead concept artist or the lead character designer at your dream studio, you notice they have none of that stuff on their portfolio. So start studying and using that again, going into faking it till you make it, but using what you want to emulate to set goals as what you need to do to achieve that. I know a lot of people that graduated. I recently graduated with my MFA in animation from USC in 2023, so about a year ago. And a lot of people that graduated with me, what they did was right off the bat, of course, they took a small little break of a vacation, because we all know if you're doing animation, your thesis is probably like a short film. And we all know that takes your blood, sweat, and your tears, and mostly your tears. But they after they got that little sabbatical in their break, and they assessed their skills and saw where they were kind of like in reference to other people in the industry, they reinvested in things like online academies. Like, you have obviously YouTube University. You go online, you start looking at concept art tutorials, you start studying the way that people are drawing, and you start improving your skills. But you also have stuff like I mentioned, Concept Art Academy. You have warrior painters. You have a lot of different people that are just offering courses that might be X amount of dollars here and there, etc. But you just start really perfecting your skills and start going from a generalist of knowing animation to really start honing in. If you like storyboarding and you want to do those figure drawings and gesture classes, do that. If you like concept art, look at people like Zach Bretz, who did concept art for Spider-Verse, or he was a concept artist on Spider-Verse, and look at how he's doing his courses, and just start reinvesting in yourself. You have time at your disposal, and I would really start flipping the paradigm of like, oh my God, I have all this time, I don't know what to do with. Like, oh no, like start using it as like an empowering thing, because when you start getting into the industry, you're going to be busy. You're going to be, yes, getting paid for the craft that you have, but you're not necessarily going to be practicing. You're going to be challenged with your assignments, and you're going to be repeating and doing things that you're passionate about, etc. But leverage your time so that it serves you, and reinvest in yourself, because as Jose mentioned, you're only going to make yourself more valuable. Start picking up things like, business. Maybe like, I do these drawings. I want to work at Disney, right? I want to be a concept artist. I want to be an illustrator, but I do these drawings, and on Instagram, some people are asking me like, hey, can you do my portrait? Start doing research. How much can I start selling my portraits for? Oh, okay. I see that people are doing this. Start getting a little bit of a business sense. So in those moments where Disney's not hitting your line, or DreamWorks is closed and all the applications and you missed the deadlines, you can start doing things on the side and really start not necessarily navigating the industry, but shaping your own reality in the industry and shaping your own path in the industry. Because I noticed a lot of people I talk to, it's like you have your big idols, the people that are all the way at the top, and you're just like aspiring to be them. But their path was not just, I graduated, I'm a director. You know, there was not that. They had so many things along the way, and I wouldn't be discouraged. And I think that talking about it is another thing that just helps us all relate. The last thing I'll share, just because I know I'm going a little bit over, one of the people that I knew actually from USC, she was an undergrad when I was a master's student, but she graduated. She made a film called Tango Was Conscious. Her name is Maddie, and she basically made a short film about a cat that gained consciousness, and it was a very cute design. And she realized that when she screened it at the final the screening, so many people were like, "Oh my God, this cat is so cute! You should do something with it. You should do something with it." Obviously, we started school in COVID. We ended school during the writer strike, so no one is going to get into the studios there. And she realized that, what if I took this Tango character and every week I just did like a little bit of a short animation, and literally just as a little anecdote, she started doing short animations with her film. Now she has this thing called Maddie's Dance Party, which features her character Tango, and she has amassed 244,000 followers for these people just watching her cat videos. And now she's making money not being in the industry, just off of like affiliate stuff. She's getting invited to Comic-Con to come talk. She's just selling merch. Now, like the 10% rule, 200,000, you take 10%, at least 24,000 people are going to be like, I would buy that for $1. And that's 24K right there. So be creative, leverage your time. You know, don't sit there being like, oh, like, what do I do? Like, you know, yeah, leverage, be resourceful, like Sam said. And yeah, that's what I would have to say about that.
I wanted to add, I forgot to say this, but if I knew what I know now, I definitely wouldn't go to college or get a degree. I just wanted to say that, but yeah, go ahead.
That's awesome. And I, I too feel the same. And later on, we're going to talk about alternatives. My addition to the conversation is, if you just graduated and you need finances now, get a temporary job now. Don't play the lottery on things that you cannot control, like Jose says. You get stability because you need to pay rent now, and you get extra time to invest in the skills. You can get an 8-week workshop online. And where are you going to get the money? From the job that you just got. Does it have to be art related? Maybe you have video editing skills. It doesn't have to be 100% art. But you have that skill, you monetize the skill, you take that money and you invest it in your dream. So
I would even add to that if I needed to find a job, I would even find a job that will not require a lot of mental work. So I will get a job at a retail store or a restaurant or something completely outside of the art industry. So when I go home, I'm not, my mind isn't tired and I can actually focus. And it will actually drive me even more to put all the time that I have extra outside of work to work on my art skills.
Right.
And I would implore everyone to make sure that you don't lose sight of the dream, though, because even myself, like I did my undergrad at SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design and Animation. After I graduated, I had my portfolio. I thought that I was ready. This was like in 2020 or 2018. Revealing my age, but basically I graduated and like I wasn't getting any jobs in the industry, and for the longest time I was working at Apple, like the Apple store, and I was like guy when you walked in, and I was like, hey, oh my god, like you need a new iPhone? I was the guy at the Apple store basically. And one of the things I mentioned when I started the sentence is just like, don't lose sight of your passion. Even if you are doing retail, be very vocal about the things that you want. Be very vocal. When I was at Apple, I was talking to people that were like, I've been at Apple for 37 years, and they were like, what about you? And I'm just like, I want to be a director. I want to be in the field. I want to be in the industry. You create the reality with the words that you put around, and people will gravitate. People will see that. And it just helps you stay in the right mental, because although like retail is totally fine and there's nothing wrong with it, I found it was very easy to just stay in that routine, and you can hit a glass ceiling of like what you actually want to do. So even if you are in that space to making ends meet, never lose sight of it. And I'm sure we have a question coming up again about creating opportunities. But even when I was at Apple, like I said, I'm like, I'm going to be the director. Oh, put me on the iPad table because I draw with Procreate all the time. I sold so many iPads because like I would show all the people like, this is Procreate. Here's a gigantic sketch. Follow me on Instagram, etc. I got some clients like that as well. And then the higher ups saw that and they were like, oh, Adriel, like, do you want to be a creative at Apple? people, like be the person who like has a little microphone and teaches people how to draw in that space. And I got so many clients from there, and the client work that I got from there helped me build the portfolio that I then used to apply to USC. And just, yeah, so never lose sight of it. Never, the circumstances are going to be something, but in light of the circumstances, in light of how dark it is, make sure that you always have your light and you're always following your light.
Great. I met Jose at his full time being an educator. And at the same time, we would always see him either getting freelance or getting workshops and training his skills while he was being an educator. That was back in 2015. That's how I met him. And he was very known in the university for hustling while working in a full-time job. So if you find a job in education, use your little spaces just to invest time. A good recommendation, 2 hours before work. 2 hours before work, you invest time in your skills, go to your job full time, and after you return, if you want to go premium, do 2 more hours. And you do that consistently, you're spending 4 hours a day. I prefer in the morning because I'm a morning person. I cannot work after full-time work. So I get my brain to work really early in the morning, every day, and then I go to work. Okay? So that's what I would recommend. All right. So let's go with another question. If the entertainment industry is down, what other industries can you pivot with the similar skills? What alternatives are there to making a living with your art skills? Jose?
It depends on where your skill is at. If you're really just starting, it's just gonna be harder because, like, if you has some sort of experience already, that people know your work, or some people know your work, you can go into the education system, which for art is just growing outside of like colleges and stuff, like courses and self. People that go through courses by themselves. That's another big industry that is growing a lot. If you are, this happened to me. If you're in just the animation industry, one thing that you can do, which is very, very easy to do, is sort of shift your skills just a little bit in order to attack other industry, like the video game and the movie industry. So for example, for me, like I was a background designer for animation, but I could do environment design for games. I can also do set design for movies, or keyframes, or key art, and all that stuff. And they're very similar, sort of. There's a lot of overlapping with the skills. I don't have to shift a lot, and it's not like I'm trying to be a character designer, which is like another whole world, or an actual animator, or a 3D rigger, or something like that, right? It's just a little shift of skills that you can do for that. But it's also really what you're really willing to do, right? I'm not willing to be a character artist. So like, if there's no jobs in the entertainment industry, like if somebody tells me, oh, there's just no jobs for the next year, then I'm just probably going to get another job. Maybe I'll work on a ranch working with horses because I just love horses, or I will do, something else that I like, right? Just because I'm not willing to, just because I want to be in the art industry or the animation industry, I'm not going to do something that I not like 100%. Right. But that's just a decision that I've made with myself, that I just got to live with the consequences of that. Right. And so it's something that you have to answer for yourself as well. What are you willing to do? What I would not recommend is just to, which I've seen quite a lot, is just especially starting, is you have a portfolio where you have 20 different skills. You're doing prop design, character design, animation, and all these different things. And then you hire for the thing that you like the least. And then you're stuck in this job doing the thing that you like the least, just because you want to be in the animation industry or the video game industry or whatever. And then you just spend there, 5-8 years doing this thing, and you're exhausted at nighttime because you're doing all this thing that you don't like as much. And so that's something that I personally wouldn't recommend. So yeah.
Yeah. As far as my take goes on it, I think that this is the point in time where it's like, you know what, just because something doesn't look like a door doesn't mean that it's not a door. And that's where I'm touching on creating your own opportunities. So this is really the moment where us as creatives, we really put our creativity to the test. So it's like just looking at people here, like Aiden Moore, you look like a creative person. Ian Mack, you look super creative. You know, Daniela Costa, extremely creative. So all of us are like creative people. And I think that like going back to it, you have a set of skills, you have your passion that you want, and find out different ways that you can apply to different things. Like the question, I'll give you an anecdote for example. My thing is I love production design. I love, obviously I want to be a director. I want to create my own stories and things of that nature. But I love the idea of someone coming to me like Spider-Verse, basically. We want to take Spider-Man, we want to give it a totally different look. We want it to be like, what if it looked like a moving comic book? What if it looked like this, and that? And we had chromatic aberration. Like, what did that happen? And then you talk to me and I basically give you a ton of concept art, a ton of like production design to build out your world. And I'm basically going to be a visual world builder. Now, that being said, the ideal dream is to do something like that for Spider-Verse or Arcane. What if we hand painted textures on our models for Arcane? Like having these kind of conversations, creating these types of images. And one of the things that I found personally in the highs and the lows of stuff, I was like, okay, so my thing is designing worlds. Where else can I quote unquote design worlds? And I actually found, like, ironically enough, with animation, children's books was something that really came naturally. I said with a children's book idea, I can have someone coming to me and they say, I have this children's book idea. It's about, Molly dreamland. She goes into a dreamland and then she something happens and the whole art direction. They're like, I love this children's book. I love Spider-Verse a little bit. I love Fairly Odd Parents. Can you make my children's book, AKA my script? And can you design me this children's book? And that was something where, like I said, just because it's not a door doesn't mean that it doesn't, because it doesn't look like a door doesn't mean it's not a door. I used this as a way to beef up my portfolio, and I would work on these children's book project, and I would like take that story of Molly and I would design it. And when I would do character designs for my client, I would basically break up a children's book like a short film. I would take the beginning part of it, of the script, and do character designs and storyboards. So I would basically take the characters, design them based off of the description, and I would design them like the industry standard, like something at Disney, the way Disney would want me to do a turnaround, the way Disney would want me to do like poses and stuff like that. I would design my main character for the children's book like that. So that way, when my book is done and it's all published, now I can take that, turn around, go talk to Disney and be like, here are some character designs that I did. And it's repurposed for the purpose of what I want to do exactly. Then when it comes to like actual like production, production is just painting the illustration of the pages. So I would just basically take the pages, make my illustrations, and that would serve as my concept art, my final art. So little things like that. For example, if you want to be a storyboard artist, storyboard doesn't always apply to film. So, doesn't always apply to animation. So you can have something where someone's doing a live action film, or like let's say I met someone who loves doing indie projects and indie films, and they're not in animation, but they want to do like a live action, just want to grab a camera and like shoot with their friend, but they're actually getting a little bit of money for it, and they're actually having a passion for it, and they just don't know how to visualize something. I could talk to them. I could be that liaison. I could be like, yeah, I can apply my storyboarding skills to this. Let me do it. And then when you do it, you literally make those storyboards look like they're Pixar storyboards. You literally make those storyboards look like they're 100% shifted towards what you want to do. They serve the purpose of what you're doing. You're creating opportunity, and you have a portfolio piece that stands for the work that you're going to be doing. So yeah, little things like that. Hopefully I tackled all aspects of that. But yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. My take is now I'm going to speak to the 3D artist in the room. So I am a 3D artist, and I have found that if I don't have a job in a big company like Nickelodeon, where you have to be a specialist, then I will take my other knowledge and find a temporary job or become an entrepreneur, because you will have to, where you look out for people who have income and are willing to pay for a service that they need. With 3D, I spent a lot of time doing advertising. Like, oh, you want an intro for your new opening of your store? I'll take care of it. I also do After Effects. I use After Effects for compositing. So instead of using it for animation, I would do it for publicity. And lately, for the past year and a half, I've been learning so much about business that I market that knowledge to other people. So I'm always selling. And that's something that you have to understand as an artist. You are selling. You have to sell to somebody who's going to make profit. That's how this works. So for example, if you work for Disney, what really happens is that they're paying you a salary so that they can take that product and resell it to a whole world and make profit out of it. If you take that principle and apply it to yourself, like I did, like, oh, I can do an advertisement for a company. Which people should I reach out? And I reached out to entrepreneurs, chiropractors, gym owners, because if they are always getting money in and they have the mindset of investment, they're gonna take my advertisement and they're gonna make more profit with my skill. So anything that you do art, just find out who can I sell it to, and they will resell it to somebody else for profit. Lastly, this is the reason your little cousin of your cousin or your aunt doesn't pay you more than $80 for your art. Yeah, because that person is not gonna make anything out of it. Like, hey, would you do us a portrait or art or whatever for our birthday? And you're like, well, my art is worth $700. It's like your aunt or your grandma's gonna be like, we're not gonna, it's just for a day. It's fine. We don't want to hire you for $700. The max they're gonna get is like 80, 50 bucks, 20 bucks, depending how cheap is your family. But the reason is because they're not gonna resell it. So whenever you want to sell art, ask yourself, who can resell my skills for a higher price? All right. So next question, generalist versus specialist. Which one is better to get in the industry? Jose.
The question that everybody has a different opinion on. I always go for the specific, for the more specialist, just because there's a few reasons. One, when I first started, I was in my late 20s, right? So I didn't start when I was like super young. And so because of my time when I started, it was just more, how can I get to this particular point as fast as possible? You can only do that when you focus on one thing, right? If you have 2-3 different skills that you have to build up, mathematically, it's just going to take you more time unless you're like a super genius, right? Which I'm definitely not, right? And so I knew that. And so for me, it was just a lot easier to concentrate on one thing. And also, the higher you go in the industry in terms of like your status and who you work for, the more specialized you have to be. And I knew that from the start. And so I always wanted to do environment, work with environments. And so I always go for the more specialized part. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. It's just there's some pros and cons from each of them, and you have to understand what are the pros and what are the cons for each of those decisions, right? If you don't know, the pros for being a specialized is that you're going to be, or you're going to always going to strive to be the best at that particular thing, and you will get, if you get hired for that, you're the best at that for that specific situation or opportunity. And again, long term, the higher you go in the industry, the more specialized you have to be. The cons of that is that you're going to have a less bigger pool of clients that you can attract because you're focusing on one skill, and then vice versa for the more general, right? You may have a lot more clients, right? But they might be lower tier clients that might pay less. And also it's going to take you longer to be really good at those skills because you're concentrating on working on different skills at the same time. And so, but yeah, personally specialized.
Great. Adriel.
I think I would probably piggyback and second that. I think that there's benefits to both, like Jose was saying, like there's pros and cons, there are things to consider about both. However, I would say that like in general, being a specialist with generalist knowledge is probably a sweet spot. to being a specialist where you have your craft, you're focused on it. Because even right out of getting graduated, like I think if you're graduating, you're taking a generalist approach, or like let's just say like you made an entire thesis film and you did it from start to finish, you touched everything. You're just like, well, look, I can storyboard, I can animate, I can do, et cetera, et cetera. Really, I think that those things lend themselves more into production. So I see a lot of people like getting like production jobs at Nickelodeon or like PA stuff where they kind of get to see everything, or they get to like poke plug holes on the entire ship that's going from a destination. But needless to say, going back to, I think specialist is good because you can focus all of your time and energy on getting one skill. You're going to get recognized for that one skill, and then you also run the risk when you're a generalist or when you have multiple interests of like what Jose mentioned earlier. You can get hired. Like let's say I really want to be a concept artist, but I can 3D animate. Cool. If I am advertising to everyone that I can do all of these things, and then someone's like, you're going to be that 3D animator, and then you're kind of like pigeonholed into a position where now I got to 3D animate and I absolutely hate it or something like that. It's just better if you're very vocal about the one thing that you want to do, and then the opportunities are going to come from that. But generally, I think you only become an asset when you have that one thing that you're good at, but you're aware of everything else. That doesn't mean that you have to chase like 5 different rabbits at the same time, but if you're aware of everything at the same time, then you can be your specialist. You can be a character designer. Just because I'm a character designer, I'll use that as the example. And when you're designing something versus being like all fluid in designing, you can think, when someone is 3D modeling this, they're really going to need this to be accurate and tight and on point. So you can be aware of certain aspects of it. So then now when I'm submitting my character design turnarounds, hiring up an art director is going to look at it and be like, this is a conscious work. This is awareness work versus someone who's just doing something that like I can't necessarily use it. I'm going to need multiple iterations of it. So that I would say is my shortest answer. And I'll let you guys know if I have anything else that pops up. But yeah.
I think also I want to add to that. Another strategy that I used, it was that I wanted to get really good at environments or backgrounds. And once I got to a point where I was getting jobs and I was consistently, getting jobs, and I was able to live off my art, that skill will start growing by itself as you do jobs and stuff like that, right? And so I started acquiring all of the skills that support that main skill. So like getting into 3D a little bit more, getting into 3D texturing a little bit more to support the environment side of things. And that also added another list of skills that I was able to use to attract all the clients. So for example, about a year ago, I got hired to work on the Avatar animated movie that's coming out. I think it's like 2 years or something like that. And they were specifically interested in me doing the concept art for the environments, but also doing 3D kits that I was going to use for the concepts. And so because I've been doing a lot of 3D kits for my environments, they saw that as a valuable thing that they could add to their studio and the rest of the team in order for them to use for the production, while I was still supplying them with the concept of the actual places. And so little by little, you start adding other supplemental skills to that one skill, and that way you can also add more value as an artist to yourself and increase the pool of clients.
Great. My thoughts: big studios want specialist, small studios want generalist. If you want to work, for example, in Italy or in Puerto Rico or some country where there's no big studios, because of their budget, it is more convenient for you to be a generalist. Like, for example, here in Puerto Rico, you can apply, I do, for example, me, lighting. That's a specialist role, right? I do lighting. And they'll be like, what else? It's like, no, that's all I do. Yeah, but if I hire you, like, what else do? You just put lights and that's it? It's like, yeah, not interested. They're not interested in that. They want you to do editing. They want you to do 3D modeling. They want you to do all the roles. Now, in a big studio, that's the opposite. If you tell them, hey, I do this, I do that, I do this, the way they're going to look at you is like, you're an amateur. Like, you're not good at anything. And going to the point of Jose and Adriel about having generalist context, but being a specialist, the question of, for those people who are stuck in that generalist, they're always learning about everything. It's like, okay, yes, you need context, but to what extent? Because there's some people that are always just learning about everything all the time. you need context, is true, but to what extent do you need context of the 3D or the other fields? So that's when you have to balance how you want to work your strategy. All right, then. This one is for the people that are debating, should you do a master's degree? Is it like, does that even increase my chances of getting into the industry? Done. We're done. Now, what education alternatives are there to develop the technical skills necessary to break into the industry? Is a master's degree really necessary? Jose?
Not really. This is a skill-based industry. This is not another thing, right? The main thing is your skill. Yes, if you want to, for example, teach at the college level, like accredited college level, they will ask for bachelor's, master's degree. But that's like a separate thing. I think getting an education as you go up in the ladder, I think getting education in other areas of the business side of things, I think is even more beneficial than trying to be get a master's on fine art or animation or whatever, right? So like if you want to be a producer or a art director or anything like that, learning about the business side of things, how to manage people, all these other things that are required for you to do well at that job in particular, I think are more beneficial. And for those, yeah, you sort of need that. But just for the art part of it, like, no, I have a bachelor's in animation, and I have never, ever used it. Ever. So.
More than 12 years, huh?
Huh?
In more than 12 years, you haven't used it?
No, never.
Adriel.
Nice. I'm actually coming devil's advocate. I'm on the opposite side. But here's the thing. I'll answer the question. Take for like literally what you said was, do you think it's necessary for a job in animation? I don't think that it's necessary for a job in animation. I think that nowadays with all the resources you have accessible, all you really need is the discipline and the interest and the passion for it. And you can be sitting in your house popping out of high school and like find a ton of videos on YouTube that teach you how to do this. You can find a ton of artists. You can go to networking events. You can just be very resourceful and very inquisitive and get all the things you can out of it without needing to go through the structure of it. I'm in a position where I got an undergrad in animation from SCAD and I got a master's degree in animation from USC. My family has always been big in academia. Like a lot of people in my family did go through 2 degrees and stuff like that. However, my whole approach to getting my master's degree was 100% for the social and the career benefits of it. So from the skill thing, I was aware that like, oh, I could just keep working at this. I could do this. But I liked and I appreciated the fact that I had a space where a ton of people were like, forced, like a lot of people with the same mentality and the same interest were forced to be in the same vicinity and network. And my teacher at SCAD actually told me, she was like, go work in the industry a little bit after you graduate, see how you like it. If you don't like it or if nothing is yielding and you have time and space for it, then just get a master's degree or like go back into it so that you can get the competitive advantage was the word. And I do think in my case, like I said, I don't think you need it, but I think that in my particular narrative and my story, that gave me the competitive advantage that changed everything. Because like I said, Bob Iger was not knocking on my door after SCAD. And then when I went to USC, for one, I got to kind of like, I took all my experiences at SCAD and I was like, well, there are some things I could have done differently. Like SCAD, our final project was to make a film, or you can work on a ton of people's film. And I ended up working on a ton of people's film. And I was like, dang, like I didn't get to make my own. And when I was at USC, I really was like, I'm going to make this movie that's called Camp Kona. It's on my page, but I'm going to make this movie that's so much about me. I'm going to finally given the opportunity to do it and the time to do it. So I really kind of like went back into it with a new look at things. And then to cut into it, like I mentioned, I did Nickelodeon for 2 years and I did Disney for a year, and that was pretty much all because of USC. We had a networking event called Studio Day where you put your portfolio up and studios look at all the people that submitted and they handpicked you. And I got picked by Nickelodeon and I was a production assistant on 2 projects, made great connections, went to a lot of networking. So it just created a lot of opportunity. Even at Nickelodeon, you go into a meeting and you do like the Trojans thing. There's so many people that are from USC and it just creates a community. But I do think these things are accessible outside of it. I just appreciated the fact that if you have the means. I also went like during COVID as well. So like the world was ending and I was in grad school. So it was a good distraction from it, I have to say. But it only benefited me outside of the financial side of things. I think it only benefited me. It only added, it helped me take my craft a lot more seriously. It gave me so many more networks. That's honestly, like, in my experience, that's the only reason why I know Sam. I worked at Nickelodeon. I got that job, and then I went to Lightbox to go to the Nickelodeon booth and just see what's up. And then Sam was just there representing Nickelodeon, and then we just started chatting about all this stuff. Nickelodeon, I worked there too. No way. Bad Bunny. We started talking about Puerto Rico, salsa dancing, and all of that happened for me specifically because I chose to go to grad school. But do your research, I would say. Grad school was also a calculated decision for me because I was in Montreal at the time, and Montreal has a good scene for video games and film, but I was like, I want to be in Hollywood. So literally when I applied for grad schools, I was like, where is a place where I can study animation and be in Hollywood? And that X was basically just Los Angeles, USC, and it worked out for me. But yeah. That'd probably be my response.
Okay. My response is college makes generalist. So if your goal is a specialist role, why would you do a master's degree where it's still a generalist education? If you want to specialize, you will look for workshops that teach how to specialize. So if you just graduated right now from a bachelor's degree and you're debating, should I do a master's? Well, it depends on your goal. If your goal is a specialist role, I would suggest go for an online workshop that is specialized in the role that you want to. Because when you get to the master's, you're gonna spend time on the thesis, and you're gonna spend time on this other course that they just injected into the program just to make it more attractive. And that's time that you could be investing in your specialization. That's my answer. Lastly, after this, start thinking about the questions that you have for us. We have a Q&A. The way it's going to work is that we're going to do, you know what? I'm not going to say yet. And after the Q&A, stay until the end because we're going to take a group picture. We're going to take a group picture for the whole event. All the 160 people of you, we're going to take a picture. So stay until the end. Building a portfolio while having a job is hard. How do you, Jose and Adriel, manage your time? Productivity. Jose.
So I did a talk about this recently. I try to be as structured as possible with my time. One of the things that I mentioned is that time is your most valuable asset. It's not the money that you have. It's not your body, it's your time. And we should treat it as such. So if I am very calculated, let's say with the money that I spend, I should be even more calculated with how I spend my time. And so the way I do it practically is I actually have right next to my desk, I have a weekly calendar thing where I try on Sundays, for example, to plan my whole week and how I'm going to spend it. Right. And, I have my full-time job. I teach. I work with clients. I'm building 2 separate companies related to concept art, and so there's a lot of stuff that I'm doing at the moment, and if I don't structure it that way, I'm just gonna waste more time and not accomplish everything that I plan to do or that I want to do. And then the other thing is that I always break it up into bite-sized pieces. So all the tasks that I have to do for the day or for the week, they're very small, that I can accomplish within an hour or 2. And so I do a lot of little sprints throughout the day, 1 hour sprints, 2 hour sprints with different tasks. And I count on the accumulation and the exponential accumulation of all those tasks for me to accomplish something by the end of the week or by the end of the month or 3 months or whatever. And so, that's how I normally structure it per week.
Thank you. Adriel?
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think time is your most valuable asset. I think that how you leverage it is 100% what's going to make or break it. And what is it like? Talent without discipline is kind of pointless, and discipline without talent is kind of pointless as well. So if you can find like a good medium of both, I think that's perfect. For me personally, I'd like the 888. I've just talking about the weekly planner, I do something where in Excel, I have a big sheet where I plan like what active projects I have going on. I also plan out certain things like how I'm going to handle my week as well. And then I have a big sheet at the bottom or another tab that's basically just like all the contacts and connects and clients that I'm talking to, or all the people that I can go back and refer to, just because your head can only retain but so many things. You know, you might be able to say, okay, oh, someone, or I should do my job application for Riot. Oh, I should do this. I should do that. And in your mind, it seems great. But without that order, you're going to notice so many things are going to fall through the crack. So to the cracks, excuse me. So try to create the structure where you can. I also like the idea of 888. If you look at it, you have 8 hours to sleep. You have 8 hours in the day to work. And then what are you going to do with those other 8 hours? So a lot of people look at time budgeting. And honestly, a lot of things that you find that you're either procrastinating on or things like that, if you just budget and plan for them properly, it's just very easy to task them. So, sorry, that notification. But yeah, as far as how I do it, I try to fill up my days like it is a work day, like a 9 to 5, but with client projects. So right now I'm juggling 4 projects at the same time. I'm doing like consulting for these people that want to pitch a project. I'm doing character designs for Monkey Paw, Jordan Peele's company. I'm doing a children's book that I'm getting ready to talk. And then I kind of constantly have like a revolving door of like people that are like reaping what I'm sowing, like people from the past that I've met. Hey, Adriel, like, are you available? Can you do this? Can you do that? And you have to, it's a nice position to be in where you are getting an influx of people, but you have to definitely start learning when you can say no, because we are all spinning a lot of different plates at the same time and it can get overwhelming. You don't want to burn yourself out. So I give yourself a quota, give yourself a certain amount of projects, see if you can quantify them, like which ones are the most difficult, which ones are the easiest. This one's going to take me 5 months to do. This one, I can crank this one out in about 2 weeks. Let me see where I can plug and chug it, etc. But structure, especially talking to artists, like as an artist, we could be sitting there. Whether you're a musician or like a painter or whatever, you're sitting there and then inspiration. So you're working so much on like a creative high, like, oh my God, an idea for this film. Oh my God, what if a song went like that? So just taking all that amazing creativity and just finding a way to make a rigid structure for it, you're going to see yourself tenfold, I find. So feel free to look at, we gave you a couple of strategies. Sam's going to give you some more. But yeah, feel free to do your research as well on how you can break up your day.
All right. Yes. So for me, work is not limited to being at a desk. You can work on ideas during your way to your job. You can work in ideas. My personal take, when I'm doing exercise and when I'm in the shower, those are the most inspiring thoughts, ideas I ever have. So I always have the phone with the notes ready. So I'm always working in my mind. I'm cooking, I'm working. I go to the desk and I take those notes that I made, and now I have inspiration to start working. So work is not limited to a formality of, oh, let's work, clean desk, perfect time, nobody's bothering me. No, you can work at anywhere. And my last point is I had a big trouble working without supervision. For years, I could only work when I was at a studio, when I was at college, but on my own,
the same dark thought too.
I just couldn't just get started. And that's the most difficult skill to develop. How to get started? Well, I fixed it, guys. If my problem is I need supervision, I went into the internet to search, are there services where they give you an accountability partner? And to my surprise, there is. The website that I found, I'm going to share it with you guys. It's right here in the chat. It's called FocusMate. And that website, what happens is you get in and you say at 10 a.m., I want an accountability partner. You get into that, you turn on the camera, that person tells you, what are you going to do? This person might be from finance, someone from Europe, someone from another field say, hey, I have to send some emails, I have to do this, I have to do that. You're like, okay, Great. I have to do some art stuff. This is my task. Let's start the timer. Then you have either a 25-minute timer or a 50-minute timer or a 75-minute timer. And once you do that, you sink in. Somebody's supervising you. You're both working together, even though it's a stranger. And you can use this 24/7. You can use this at midnight, at 5 a.m. There's always somebody that's willing to help you. So 3 meetings a week is free. If you want the premium version, it's $10 a month, which I think is a ridiculous price for a solution that will solve your life if you can't work without supervision. And that's the link. So enjoy. Now, the time has come for you guys to make questions. How are we going to do this? We're going to do this open mic. So the way we're going to do this, you're going to click the raise hand button in the Zoom call, and that's going to put you in line for you to turn on the mic and ask us a question. So when you have your question ready, raise your hand.
All right. We have one question from Willow.
Great. Willow, what's your question?
Will all of the problems in the animation industry be the same on YouTube? Like, will it turn into the same thing with YouTube? Because there's a few indie animation projects that are pretty good that I think they're not going to turn out the same, but I'm not sure.
Sorry, I could barely hear it.
Oh,
Say that again.
I was saying, like, will the animation industry turn into the same thing as it is on YouTube? Like, because on YouTube there's a few animation
creators
channels. Yeah, animation creators. And they collaborate with a whole bunch of people in the same way, and it's really high quality. But I'm not sure if it'll turn into the same thing as the normal television media, like big giant corporations.
Well, if I understand your comment, I think because of social media, it has added a new venue for artists to earn money and live off their art, almost independently, not depending on big companies. So like, artists that have a huge following because of the animation that they like, they can go that route. I just don't think. I don't know. I'm a little skeptical in that area for the long term. It's like this sort of new art influencers. People have hundreds of thousands of followers. That's a different audience. That if I want to attack like actual companies that will hire me for my work. That's just fans that are giving me the attention because of the artwork that I'm doing. Which you can definitely go that route nowadays for sure. It's just to me, it's just a little bit harder for the long term to keep that up.
Okay. Pause here. So instead of the three of us answering one person, we're gonna do one person per question. So Jose answered that question, and
Sounds
now
good.
we're gonna take another person. Thank you for your question. The next person was it
Looks like Alana on my screen.
Alana? Okay, Alana.
Hello. My question, I feel like it's asked a lot in these types of events. How do you stay motivated to keep working on your skills? Because I feel like I usually lack motivation due to responsibilities at home. And when I do have the time to work on my project, my skills, I usually just rather relax and play video games than work, since I'm like, I already did all these responsibilities before.
So yeah, I guess my answer for that is going to be like, it depends on where you want to put your values or what you're valuing. If you definitely want to value improving your skills with animation, I think it's just going to boil down to discipline. So in those moments, like you said, when you're tired with work and you're really like, you just want to play video games, for sure, you can totally do that. But if you really want to tell yourself, like, at the end of the year, you want to set the goal, like, I want to improve X, Y, and Z skill, then include it in your schedule. Maybe tell yourself, like, when I'm done with work, I'm going to have like 2 hours to play video games or like 30 minutes to play video games. And then for 45 minutes, I'm just going to do character drawings. For 35 minutes, I'm going to look at what's the best way that I can draw eyes. And you don't have to treat like motivation for art. You don't have to treat it as like, oh my God, I need to sit down for 8 hours. And after my job, I have to draw the most perfect thing in the world. And if it's not perfect, I'm done. I think practice makes perfect. I think that if you just find the time and you allot the time, that's one thing. Finding the time is one thing. If you allot the time based off of the fact that you want to improve it and just set that aside for yourself. Yeah. And you can, I would say you could be lenient on yourself. Like, obviously you don't beat yourself up, kind of like going to the gym. It is a muscle. Like, don't beat yourself up if like one day you miss a day and you're just like, oh, dang, I'm never going to do this again. I'm done. Just keep up at it. Reward yourself. Like, hey, today I learned how to draw eyes. Today, I got better at drawing perspective. Today, I did X, Y, and Z. Today, at my 45 minutes, I did this, and it's all compounding into the interest and the information that I have. So what is it? Discipline is just doing what you want without motivation or doing what you need to do without motivation. So, and then after a while, as you start to improve, you're going to have those days where it is going to overlap. Maybe one day in your 45-minute gap, oh my God, I'm drawing this perspective and I really like it. Oh, my 45 minutes turned into, I didn't even play video games, like, etc. But yeah, I would say that's probably my response to that.
Thank you. Cyan, what's your question?
Hello. My question is that I put on the chat, but I'm a little, as a concept artist or aspiring concept artist, I'm a little worried about that part of the industry, just because I sometimes think that the concept art side is not really necessarily much needed compared to storyboard artists or post-production work. So my question is like, people who want to get into concept art specifically, if there's like a big market for that right now compared to like other animation jobs.
Jose, you take this one. We have we have a concept artist here. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's my question for Jose mostly.
Yeah, in the animation industry, like I've worked as an actual concept artist for the animation industry. It's a little bit more rare, right, than movies and video games. It's still definitely needed for sure. I don't think it's a thing that is just gonna disappear. It's just not there. But I think the skills are still overlapping between the three industries. So if you don't have any jobs as a concept artist in the animation industry, you can definitely get jobs as a concept artist in video games or in movies. You may have to shift a little bit, but the shift is not really that long. But I wouldn't count out the industry as a concept artist in the animation industry. It just might be a little bit more tricky to get in. But again, I think it comes down to first the skill level and second the networking issues for that.
Thank you.
All right then. Valeria Moreda.
Sí, hello. So my question is for like the people in Puerto Rico. I know there's a few people in Puerto Rico in this meeting. So
hello.
how would you recommend us do networking? Because this doesn't account only for Puerto Rico, but for places that the animation industry is very small, and like there's like more opportunities outside y todo eso. So what are your recommendations in like networking and like getting your work out there, aside from posting on Instagram and things like that?
Right. Thank you for the question. This question doesn't only apply for Puerto Rico. Like every other country where it doesn't have big studios have the same question. For example, I had somebody from a colleague from Italy, and she was saying that animation in Italy cannot be done because the only opportunities you can have with 3D in that sense was advertising agencies. So she had to move to LA to work at Nickelodeon with me, because if she wanted to be an animator, she had to be where the opportunities are. So in that case, in Puerto Rico and all those countries that have the opportunities are very limited. It's possibly very small studios. And the way to network in is actually, because it's a small studio, you have the only way to get hired is by knowing them, the people who are inside, having relationship with them. That's how I got my job inside of Gladius, which is the studio at Puerto Rico. Any studio that's small is always through word of mouth, personal contact, or they have some connection through Discord, and they made a long-term relationship. People think that networking is just one conversation, and a lot of people are expecting like a sale transaction. It's like, oh, I reached out to you, so now you owe me a job. No, like you have to go through the judgment of, is this guy a person who's gonna use me, or does he really want to be a friend? And normally networking goes as a friend with no agenda or anything. And when you build rapport, when you build friendship, then and you have also invested in this person, the person can naturally invest in you. It's not a guarantee, but anyone who has had any opportunity through networking, it looks somewhat like that. So if you're here and you're from a country that doesn't have a big studio, and there's small ones, that's how you network inside of those. And if you're a big one, that you gotta be like Adriel, be in big events, have the greatest connections that have also worked on studios and hustle. And like I said in the beginning, you have to be resourceful. All right?
Just the only thing I want to tack on to that as well, especially I'm just looking at the chat, and I think it's more specific to just like, how do I kind of like get my foot in that and like to know them. Definitely look into stuff like online events, look into communities that you can tap in. I know Discord is a pretty big thing now, so a lot of people are doing that. Some people in this call actually found us through a Discord server. So just look for communities and ways, and the communities don't necessarily always need to be in your area specifically, especially if you are in a location that doesn't have like a hot animation place, for example. You can still network with someone and then get a remote opportunity. So going back to the beginning, what I would say is like, I was about to type it in the chat, I'll just put enter on it, but stuff like Latinx animation, Rise Up Animation, Afro Animation Summit, all these are huge, like Women in Animation, all these are huge communities that you don't need to be in LA, you don't need to be like face to face with these people. They just create environments and create events and create spaces where you can do something like this and you can connect with people. And then, like Sam was saying, you never know where that relationship is going to go. And networking is not just transactional, like, oh, yeah, here's my name, here's what I do, give me the job. It's really the relationship that you have with someone and what you build. So at the Women in Animation thing, you might meet someone who's like, oh, I used to live in Puerto Rico and now I'm living in LA, and actually we need someone. And I want to work with someone who's from Puerto Rico. So actually, because you and I are from the same place, like, you never know where the relationships can go. So just be proactive about joining these things. Like if it's a Zoom call, you don't have to have your camera on, just be there, be present, talk to people, look for opportunities, create opportunities. As we said, that's been my mantra this call. But yeah, look into animation communities, I would say.
Yeah, and general chatting, like in the general chat, is not networking. Normally, relationships are one-to-one. So make any excuse to bring people that are in the general chat into a DM. Just find an excuse. I always use the 20-minute virtual coffee. Hey, I like to connect with people. Will you be down for a 20-minute virtual coffee? That would be a DM. And normally they'd be like, yeah, I'll be 20 minutes in a Zoom call to meet you. Sure, why not? And that is when I go face to face and have an actual relationship. And that relationship have gotten me a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. And I know we have one more question. The only thing I like to add to that is Sam and I always do our talks and we discuss networking specifically. When you are getting vetted for networking and meeting people in terms of a job, oftentimes it's really not, your skills are going to get you through the door for sure. The skills are going to open the door, but a lot of times the conversation you're having with people are if you and I are working in the same office and the cubicle are right next to each other, what kind of conversations are we going to be having? So look for those personal angles. That's something that Sam and I talk a lot about in our panels and our discussions. Look for a personal angle. So don't just, I mean, yes, there's the element of like, this is what my goal is, this is what I want to do. But just for an example, as I'm looking at some of these Zoom calls, I could look at Ian and be like, oh my God, dude, you're probably an amazing like plant dad. What's your skill to like being a plant dad? You know, like to teach me something about that. Every time I have a plant, it dies. Just making conversation, trying to connect with people. Now, hey, next time I want to have a plant, maybe I'll hit Ian Meka up and he'll tell me some skills. Little things like that. So look for personal angles. Be genuine about it as well, I find. And then you really do have no idea where these things can lead. And animation is always so ever changing. Someone that was at Disney now, not doing anything. Someone's now at DreamWorks. Oh, but they got their job and now they're here and there, et cetera. And opportunities can come from around. So yeah, reap what you sow. But I think that's good for this question. So we can move on.
Yes. So we're going to answer one more question and then we're going to take the group picture. So, Paul, what's your question?
Hi. Can you hear me? Is my mic working?
Yes.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So I don't have a camera. I'm just going to be talking like this. I have a question I think a lot of people think about and they kind of dread asking it, but I feel there kind of needs to be some talk about it. That's about AI, right? I think it was mentioned a bit earlier. And I think Jose was talking about it. He didn't talk much. So I guess I just wanted to ask, just in your opinion, how much do you think that will affect us? Do you think we should be looking into AI? Should we be learning a bit, right? Just your opinion, I guess, in that regard. I don't know, any one of you, I guess.
Jose?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to affect us in some way. I think some ways are going to be positive. I think some ways are going to be negative. I saw in the chat earlier, there was a question about, posting on Meta and all this stuff. And this is more of a personal take, right? But for example, me personally, I'm not willing to sacrifice my exposure to potential clients just because of AI. So I'm not gonna like delete all my socials or take my work from our station or anything like that just because of AI can scrap my work. I personally don't. I don't want to say I don't care, but it's not something that I'm not gonna put a lot of energy into it, and or I'm not gonna shoot myself in the foot by being reachable. Just because I really, I mean, right now I don't depend on being reachable because I have my job and my clients and all that. But if I was starting out, I would probably wouldn't care as much, just because I depend on people knowing that I exist as an artist and they need to find my work. And it's very frustrating when I try to find an artist's artwork. If I looking for artists for recommendations for my ADs or anything like that, and I have to do 2, 3, 4, 5 different steps to get to their artwork, or it's kind of hard to find and it's not accessible at the moment. It's really frustrating, and I think a lot of people lose the opportunity because they're not super reachable and they're not easy to access, their work and all that. So in that case, I wouldn't. I personally don't worry about that stuff much.
All right.
And again, I think the AI thing, whatever is going to happen, is going to happen, no matter how much energy I put into thinking about it. And so, again, like I said earlier, I just concentrate on the things that I can control.
Right. All right, then. Well, thank you so much, Adriel. You're gonna take the picture. So everyone, let's turn the cameras on. In the meantime. The three of us have 3 announcements. So, is anyone?
We do?
Yes, our socials and stuff. First announcement: is there anybody here? Write in the chat. Is anyone here interested in getting workshops? Write in the chat if this is something that you're interested. Okay, perfect. So on August 15, I have my own workshop. I'll put it here. Stop chatting now, because then it will lose everything. So here it is for those who are interested. Jose, any announcements that you have to make?
Not so much. I mean, I opened up. I have my. I concentrate mostly on environment art. So I do have my courses online there that I just added this month. That's it.
All right then, Adriel.
Nice. For me, I'll go ahead and pop it in the chat as well. I am doing a lot of. Let me see. There we go. I'm doing a lot of client projects now, but you can feel free to follow a lot of stuff that I do. I'll be talking about like making my film pretty soon. I'm going to put my socials here. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm pretty active there, but you can see kind of like little tutorials that I do, little things about my artwork. I also do put all my artwork on a print shop. So if you're interested in getting my art as a print, please feel free to check that out as well. Always love connecting with new artists and always happy to meet everyone here. So, and I think someone actually, I'll probably resurface it, but someone made a whole Google spreadsheet, like with a contact form. So that's something that we'll most likely share at the end of our picture taking. But yeah, other than that, yeah, feel free. If you follow on Instagram, like you'll pay attention to when Sam and I are doing our next events, when I'm doing my next thing and things of that nature. Now I'm getting everything prepped for the photo.
José's raising the hand.
Oh yeah, very quickly. I'm giving away a bunch of tutorials and for anybody that does 3D, a lot of 3D models. So feel free to get those if you want. Those are for free. You can use them however you want to. You can use them there.
Nice. You tossed the link in there?
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Oh, Evans, we have one person coming in. Right?
They're coming for the picture.
Coming for the picture, right? Awesome. So Jose, I got your hand up. Basically what's going to happen, we have 6 pages of people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure everyone has their camera on that would like their camera to be on, just so that people don't shift around. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to count us down 3, 2, 1. Bear with me. We're going to do this 6 times, but I'm basically going to go page 1, screenshot, page 2, screenshot, page 3, etc. And then Sam is going to capture some people, because if we're doing it multiple times, Sam's going to capture some people on page 1, and then we'll pick the best ones and all that good stuff. So I will start. If we can keep the chat silent, just so I don't have the screenshot with the chat, I will start us off. And I have my screenshot ready. Everyone that's on page 1, get ready. We're going to do picture in 3, 2, 1 and a countdown. So 3, 2, 1. Excellent. I'm going to do page 2. Perfect. People on page 2. I have no idea if you can tell if you're on page 2. People on page 2, we're going to do 3, 2, 1. Excellent. People on page 3, homies. Let's see how this goes. Remember, if we could just keep the chat inactive so I don't have a chat blocking someone's beautiful face. There we go. Page 3, I'm going to give us the countdown in 3, 2, 1. Excellent. And then page 4, it looks like page 4 through page 5 and page 6 are all camera off. So I will snap a screenshot of those pages just so we have your awesome names and there we go. And pictures there. So I'm going to get 3 more. And then all of these will be shared via email, via Sam. We'll be sharing social media as well. Feel free, as we're doing our wrapping calls as well. Sam and I love, and Jose, I'm sure as well, we love reposting all of you guys. So if you guys want to post, like, just attended this thing, like, we'll repost you guys to our socials and really talk about how much fun we had here. So looks like we're all done. We're on page 6.
Tag us.
Yeah, tag us. That's the word I was looking for. Feel free to tag us. We will absolutely repost you. And then honestly, like, we have the spreadsheet, but if anyone was able to put their socials in the chat, connect with each other. That's what we want to create. That's the whole purpose of this. You guys are going to be the people that you're going to be working with in the future. You're going to see, I'm sure you're going to see a ton of each other in the future. So please feel free to start those relationships. And I think I got everything. So yeah, I think we're good.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. Jose and Adriel, stay. You may exit, and may we see you next in our future events. Stay in touch. We're going to stay in touch through social media, emails. So anytime we announce anything, you're free to come. Thank you for coming.
It was nice seeing you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you, guys.